What is up, Jammer fans? You're tuned in to another episode of the B Cam Sports Jam. I'm your host, Brad Cameron, here with my co-host, Steven Berkheimer. Steven, how are we doing this evening?
We're doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, fantastic. We got a lot to talk about. But first, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Good Samaritans Transport, LLC. Good Samaritans, service that exceeds expectations. Here's what's on the menu for today, Steven. We're going to talk a little college basketball, do a little college football. We want to talk about the playoff and the championship game that's coming up on Monday. And we're going to talk about wild card weekend. We're getting into some NFL stuff, talk coaches, and then we want to talk about the wild card weekend.
Exciting times.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let's jump into some college basketball. Let's look at the top 10 that we have right now in the AP poll. We got Kansas, Oklahoma, 1 and 2, Maryland at 3, Virginia at 4, Michigan State at 5, UNC at 6, Arizona 7, Providence 8, Kentucky 9, Xavier 10. Now, Oklahoma just lost to Kansas on Monday.
In an instant classic for sure.
In an absolutely instant classic and tremendous talent. Both sides, both teams have some awesome talent, tremendous shooters. Absolutely a classic. Virginia lost to Virginia Tech. You know, that one is looking like going to be an ugly loss for them. No offense to Virginia Tech. I just don't think they're bringing enough firepower this year, and that could be quite a devastating loss in terms of Virginia's seedings. You know, they're obviously still going to make the tournament, but when the committee's looking at how good Virginia really is, that might be a thorn in their side. And Providence, who just lost also, Kentucky also losing last night to LSU, this is going to look completely different next week. I mean, you got your top 10 right now, but there's been so many fluctuations already this year, and it only seems to dance even more every single week. So, you know, who of these 10 teams do you think are going to be actual contenders and stay in the top 10, you know, for virtually the rest of the season, without having some of these, you know, some of these ugly losses that a couple teams did have this week. You know, Kentucky losing to, you know, a kind of up and down LSU team, and then Virginia losing to Virginia Tech. Who are your 4 solid ones that will remain consistent and in the top 10? What do you got?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think it's awesome that this year we don't have a solid or a significant number one that just stands out. So I love this, and I think it's great. So I'll stick with Kansas. Kansas is, in my opinion, they're the most well-rounded team so far that I've seen. They score unbelievable. Everybody can score on that team. I'll take Maryland as well. Maryland looks really good.
We do look really good.
We did. We played really well the past 2 games, and I like what we're doing now, and I'm hoping it keeps up. I'll also take Michigan State when Valentine comes back.
Yeah.
I think that they're a solid squad, and when he's on the floor, they're a completely different team.
Absolutely.
And then I'll also take UNC. I think the Tar Heels are definitely deserving of a top seed if they can finish the season out. I think that the Tar Heels are, I guess I would say they're in my top 4.
Okay, I like it. I agree with Kansas. I do think Kansas has tremendous balance between being able to, backcourt and front court, being able to get the ball down low and operate through Ellis, but also they have Wayne Selden, who's awesome. Frank Mason, they have tremendous guards as well. Maryland too, like they're a very balanced team with now Diamond Stone. They have some really nice presence in the paint. You know, you got Trimble and Lehman up top, shooting for him with Suleiman. Tremendous balance. I like Kansas and Maryland. UNC is tough. They have a very, very hard road. I mean, they got to play Duke still. They still have to play Pitt. They still have to play Virginia. They still have so many tough games that I think, despite the fact that they're really good, I think they're gonna just have a couple hiccups strictly because the road is tough.
It is tough.
But that'll make them even more, you know, hardened for the tournament. But I think they may slip out a little bit. But I like Arizona. I think Arizona has a relatively easy road. It's looking like the Pac-12 isn't as good as kind of what it was looking like early in the year with Oregon being ranked. You know, they're kind of slipping off. So the Pac-12 isn't proving to be much of a strong competitive league, and Arizona looks like they are going to be there, and I don't think they're going to have many losses that are going to force them out of the top 10. But my other one is going to be Michigan State as well. I think Michigan State has tremendous balance, and once Valentine comes back, they'll be fine and they'll win games. You know, the Big Ten kind of looking like it's going to go through Maryland or Michigan State. You know, a couple teams playing well. Iowa's playing well. Michigan's playing well, but I don't think they have enough to hang with Maryland and Michigan State. So I think those are my four right there. But good stuff. You know, let's talk more about Maryland. You know, today played a game at home versus Rutgers. Stomped them.
Jumped out.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. At one point they're up 30. They might have been up 33. Looking awesome right now. And you know, Rutgers obviously not the best team. They have a long way to go before they're going to be, you know, remotely competitive in the Big Ten. But Maryland took care of business. You know, now they're 3-0 in the Big Ten, 14-1, and they sit atop the Big Ten by themselves right now. 88-63 today. What do you think about this game coming up this weekend against Wisconsin?
I mean, I like this. I think the only one that we'll have trouble with looking forward, it would be the Michigan State game coming up. Wisconsin's kind of having an off year. You know, they got off to a sluggish start, and they've somewhat turned it around, but they're not the Wisconsin of the past couple of years. So I think I'm hoping that Maryland, well, I guess if we're fans of Maryland, which we are.
Another 25-point win. Should we mark it down?
I would say 15 plus.
15.
15 plus.
Hey, Vegas, are you listening? We got 15 right here. No, I think you're right. I think they take care of business again. I think their shooting when hot is this lethal, and I think we're hot right now. You know, we went to Northwestern. You know, we were kind of beating the snot out of them for a little bit. You know, they kind of battled back at home. You know, respectable. I think it was only a 13-point victory, but we had them on the ropes pretty bad also, and they kind of climbed back in. But right now we're hot. And I think against Wisconsin, we're still going to be shooting hot. You know, we opened up cold against Penn State, but it was kind of a good slap in the face. You know, right away we're like, all right, we can't play like this, otherwise, you know, we'll lose some games. And so I think that was a good wake up. They went to Northwestern, took care of business. Rutgers took care of business tonight, and I see them doing the same thing come Saturday against Wisconsin.
They're playing really good ball right now.
Yes, absolutely. So love to see it. Love to see it. Keep it up, Terrence. Well, we're going to take a short break. We want to give you guys ways to interact with us, follow us on social media. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Jammer fans. Moving on to our next topic, we're going to talk college football, and we're going to recap the playoff first, talk a little bit about bowl games, and then give our predictions for the championship game. First off, let's start with the bowl games. This seems to be the worst matchups I've ever seen for college football bowl games. I mean, there was just blowout after blowout. No game was virtually that entertaining. You know, you know, is there something that needs to be changed for this to make it more interesting, or was it just an off year? You know, they didn't hit the way they thought they were going to hit, and the matchups didn't go that well. Well, what do you think, Steve?
I think, well, it's an early process, so we can't determine whether or not this was an off year or they're making the wrong decisions and who to bring into the playoffs. So, but aside from that, I think it'd be fun to bring 4 more teams in and make it an 8-team playoff. That way everybody gets a chance. They made it 2, now we're at 4. When do we stop? 8. I think bringing more teams. I think bringing more teams in would be beneficial for college football and less hit and miss and worrying about hitting and missing.
Okay, I agree with you on that. I think 8 is a better way to determine your true champion, but that's getting to be a lot of football games. I mean, that's almost an NFL season. If you have 8 teams, then they're going to have to play, depending on how you want to do buys, they're going to have to play 3 games, 3 more games on top of the 12 that they already play in the regular season. So they're playing about 15 games, which is virtually an NFL season. I mean, these kids gotta go to school, and during some of these bowl games, this is kind of like, if you want to extend it, you get into final exams and when semesters start, and not every school starts at the same time. I mean, you have to go day, and then like the next day have another game. I mean, that's pretty rigorous for football. Generally you get week off, the NFL, week off, even college, they do it Saturdays, and then you have a week off, and then you play next Saturday. I just think 8 is great for having a true champion. I just don't know how they're going to fit it with academics and and with just running these kids ragged. You know, it's a lot of football games. But let's go over Oklahoma versus Clemson. You had Clemson. I had Clemson. Clemson took care of business.
Yep.
You know, they were down 17-16 at halftime. You got to give Oklahoma credit for battling and hanging in there and had the lead. But Clemson overall, too good. Ended up being too good. They took care of business. They got out of there with the W. They're moving on. Alabama versus Michigan State.
Who do we have in that one?
One of us was an idiot and took Michigan State. Me. I took Michigan State. Alabama looks to be on another level. You know, the score at halftime, 10-0, you know, it looked like they could climb back in. It's like, okay, it's 10-0. You know, nothing's really, there's no high scoring going on. If you can get yourself a touchdown, you're definitely right back in this, or even a field goal, you're right there. But then Alabama just kind of put the foot on the throat and ran away with it. I mean, blanked them. Like, I don't know. That was pretty bad.
I wouldn't call it embarrassing, but that was
embarrassing.
pretty embarrassing.
That was embarrassing, and I'm embarrassed for picking them. I was watching that game.
They're still trying to score.
I don't think they would have scored yet. So let's move on. Alabama versus Clemson. What do you got?
I'm gonna stick with it. I'll take my Tigers.
Okay.
I think Dabo went in as an underdog last week, stomped them. Gonna come in as an underdog this week. Not gonna stomp them.
He's been saying that the whole time. He continually says, "No one believes in us. We're the underdogs." And they've been the number one team in the nation, and I'm sure a lot of people are picking them to win this. But I think that's a great way, a motivation tool he's using with his boys, you know, constantly saying no one believes in us, but we're here for each other, and you know, we're just keep rolling with the journey. I like it. But okay, Clemson.
Yeah, the team atmosphere he's built around there, I think, is unrivaled, even in Alabama. And I think the team wins the game more than maybe the game being played, if that makes sense.
Okay, understandable. I like it. I'm gonna go with the Tide. I'm gonna go with the Tide. I mean, they're just playing so good, and I don't know if this is slightly swayed by the media. You know, the media's hyping Alabama, and I'm seeing less reasons to pick against them. I tried to find reasons to pick Michigan State because I thought if it was a close game, you know, they might be able to muster up an effort like they had all season and snatch up another win. But it didn't work out that way. And I don't think Clemson is going to take anything from this Alabama team either. I think they know what they want, and I think they're going to go after it. And they look like they're playing some really good football. Clemson is also, obviously, they're in the championship. But I do definitively think these are the two best teams in the nation.
Agreed.
First time ever, might I add, the number 1 seed, number 2 seed in the playoff have played each other. I know this is only the second year, but just throwing some stats at you. But okay, so I got Alabama, you got Clemson. We got 20 on it?
No, which one?
Okay.
Come on, Tigers.
All right, we're going to take one more break. Don't worry, we'll be right back. Welcome back, Jaren fans. Next, we're going to move on to some NFL stuff. We're going to talk about all the shifts in coaching, head coaching positions that are going on right now. There's 6 teams that are looking for a head coach. Eagles, Giants, 49ers, Miami Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns, and the Tennessee Titans. Lots of firings going on. Lots of shifting. Let me give you a big name that is a topic of conversation nowadays, Mr. Chip Kelly.
Chip.
Do you think Chip Kelly is going to go to any of these teams? Obviously not the Eagles. They're content with not having him. But do you see him going to the Giants, Niners, Miami, Cleveland, Tennessee? What do you think?
I'll say in Chip's situation, he's kind of in a unique situation with his offense and the personnel that he likes to use.
Yeah.
Given that, I think he's obviously in love with Mariota. So if he doesn't return to college, which he says he wants to stay in the NFL, I think that he'll go with Tennessee. And if he doesn't get Tennessee, do I think that he's ecstatic about any of these other positions? Being a head coach, yes, but at these locations, I don't think he's extremely happy with any of these.
Well, let me say this. I've read reports that the Niners are heavily looking into Chip Kelly, and would that be an interesting tandem between him and the running quarterback in Kaepernick? I know Kaepernick looks like he's kind of starting to kind of dissipate, and could Chip Kelly find a way to use his talents and to kind of re-spark something in San Francisco? Do you think maybe the Niners or he may want to go there and work with another type of multifaceted quarterback like what he has in Mariota, run and pass type quarterback? Do you think he maybe could go to San Francisco?
I think he could, but I don't think San Francisco's sold on Kaepernick. He did
True.
lead them to good records and nice playoff runs, but I don't think that
With Harbaugh.
right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they believe with Chip Kelly. I understand that he likes the mobile quarterbacks, but I think that they have a lot deeper issues than their quarterback. They're kind of in a disarray right now in San Francisco, and I think that kind of nobody wants to get their hands dirty down there. So
Absolutely. I think you're right too. I don't know. That's kind of a sunken ship that I don't think anyone really wants to explore right now.
absolutely.
Mike Shanahan, his name is rising to the surface, kind of out of nowhere, but I've heard him, debate about coming back, possibly going to any of these teams. Do you see him making a return to the NFL, or?
I do. And I see him going to the 49ers.
There it is.
This guy's a wreck going to a wreck.
Okay.
That's who I would say. If Shanahan is going to go anywhere, if anybody's going to hire, I have him going to San Francisco.
Oh.
Doesn't make sense, yes, because I'm not a Shanahan fan myself. I'm nothing against the 49ers, but
Okay.
I think that he'll fit well in San Francisco.
All right, let me ask you this. Are there anyone from the college ranks that could jump up to the NFL like a Nick Saban? Let's say if a contract looks good, maybe he wants to try and, get his hands dirty again in the NFL, make a return. Do you think Saban comes out of college and
I don't think he does.
Okay.
I think he's perfectly content where he is, and with the success he's had there, why leave? His stint in the NFL was short-lived, and he goes back to college, and he's just crushing everybody. His recruiting is at the top of the top every year, and if you're being that successful and you've made the playoffs and you're winning championships, why not?
All right. What about David Shaw? He's another hot coach. He's at Stanford. He had Andrew Luck. He's developing a lot of talent. His Stanford boys playing fantastic football. Again, a top 10 team. Do you think he wants to make the climb, take on the challenge, going to the NFL? You see him going to any of these squads?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he would like to do. I mean, if you have a weapon like McCaffrey in college, how are you going to run away from that? It's kind of not with the Saban thing, as his team's well-rounded, but McCaffrey's on another level. I don't know why that guy didn't win the Heisman, honestly.
Putting up some fantastic numbers, breaking Barry Sanders' record, all-purpose yards. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, that kid's something else. Watching him play, every single time he touches it could be a touchdown. Every single time.
Yeah.
Incredible. Great season. What about John Gruden?
He's somebody that comes up every year. And
Comes up every year.
Every year he's still in the booth.
Still in the booth.
So I don't see anything that seems, I guess, who of these teams would you present to him that he'd be ecstatic about going to? And I don't think so. He's had better job opportunities in the past than this year, in my opinion. And if he wasn't going then, why go now?
I wonder. I think you're right. I think he stays. I think he loves doing what he's doing. He's awesome at what he does in terms of, kind of being a mediator towards some of these kids who are coming up and kind of educating them in terms of how the NFL works, sizing them up, and they meet with him one-on-one, mainly quarterbacks, but
right.
It's very fun, and I think he loves sharing that knowledge with these young kids. And so I do think he'll stay. But it would be interesting to send him to the Giants. Like him as an experienced coach and Super Bowl winner with a two-time winner, Eli Manning. I don't know. That would be interesting. As a Skins fan, I don't necessarily want to see it. John, stay. You're happy. Don't. You're fine. But that would be bringing such power together. I think would be kind of interesting, and for him, maybe that's low enough fruit where he might want to try and go for it. But I don't think he does. It would just be kind of like okay, well, veteran quarterback, two-time Super Bowl winner, just lost his coach. Who wouldn't want to work with, with Eli and
Me.
I mean, I've badmouthed him before, but you can't take away his 2 championships, and he's experienced. I don't know. It's very different than these other situations. Miami has Tannehill, he's still young. Cleveland has, yeah. Tennessee has Mariota. It's all young, and the Eagles. I mean, they have Bradford, but it's a mess. Like the Giants is the only thing where at the quarterback position, it's like it's good, it's stable. Sometimes he has bad games, but he can make it big. He can do it big. He's done it on the biggest stage. Took down the Patriots undefeated in the Super Bowl. So it would just be interesting. I think of all these teams that have head coaching vacancies, the Giants or possibly the Titans are the best fits in terms of coming in and being able to be successful, virtually right away. So okay, yeah, I don't think John leaves the booth, but interesting things.
Yeah, for sure. I think if I recall correctly, the Giants have the most cap room too, so to make it more attractive for him. But
yeah.
I think where he is, he kind of gets the best of both worlds, being in the booth and teaching the kids, like you said, and he gets both of those doing what he's doing, and I think he enjoys it.
Well, I'm looking forward as a Skins fan to seeing 2 new coaches kind of taking on the NFC East next year. Makes me feel a little bit better.
Throw Chip Kelly in New York and wreck that.
There we go. Take him down, Chip. Take him down. No, okay. Moving on. Let's talk playoffs. Wild card weekend.
Pumped.
Go Skins.
Go Skins.
Okay. First, AFC. Let's talk about division rivalry. Steelers versus Cincy. What do you got in this game?
I'll take the Steelers.
Okay.
In both of the games that they played this season, the away team won. And Andy Dalton, Pittsburgh probably wants him to play with his playoff past. But even if he plays or doesn't play, I still have the Steelers. It kind of depends on D'Angelo. He's in his walking boot. But I think either way they get it done. I don't think I don't think the Bengals are. I haven't been high on them all season. I've heard other people on the show maybe being high on them, but I'm high on the Steelers. I had them getting in the playoffs over the Jets, and I'll stick with the Steelers on this one.
All right, I'm taking Cincy. I think D'Angelo was an incredible acquisition that Pittsburgh had, and they're fortunate to have him when Bell went down. I think when Bell went down, if they didn't have D'Angelo, I don't even think we're talking about them. I think it is the Jets right now. I don't think it's Pittsburgh at all. I mean, D'Angelo really, really helped lift that team. I'm not saying he's better than Bell, but he was a very, very suitable replacement. He ran fantastic. I mean, he was a virtually a top 5 running back this year. He was awesome. I think this is gonna catch them. I like Big Ben. I like Antonio Brown, but look what Cleveland did against them last game of the season. They hung with them. When D'Angelo went out, Cleveland was right there hanging with them, going toe to toe. And I think Cincy has way more firepower than Cleveland, and Cincy is much better at home. And I know they're not known for winning their playoff games, but I think they get it done this time. I think the fact that Steelers are so nicked up, I think Cincy finds a way, whether it's Bernard, making a big play, or Hill. I think Cincy finds a way to win this game, considering that Pittsburgh's defense, it isn't that good. I know they've been playing better, but it really isn't that good. It's not something that you're really that scared of. You can take some shots against them, but I think this will be a very good game. But I'm going to take Cincy.
Cincy, with their playoff past against a proven playoff winner.
Come on, Marvin Lewis, do something. All right, moving on. Next game, AFC Chiefs versus Houston.
Who's going to beat the Chiefs? They're on a 10-game win streak.
I mean, obviously no one looks like.
I think you need J.J. Watt to have 2 touchdowns, in my opinion, for Houston to win this game. I don't think their offense is going to be able to compete with Kansas City's offense with how well Kansas City's defense is playing. So I'll go with the Chiefs in this one, even though it's in Houston. I'll go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think this is a no-brainer too. Chiefs. But I'll give Houston a little bit more credit than that. Their defenses play fantastic. J.J. Watt, obviously, animal. But I just think the Chiefs are playing too good right now. I think they're so balanced. They're starting to get their passing game going, which is one thing that was really inhibiting them. Because last year they had no touchdowns to their wide receivers. Like, what's the point of even putting them out there? But, Macklin starting to come on last 5 weeks. He's really been on a tear, and they've been able to run the football effectively all year, and that defense is starting to play, the way that they were kind of projected to play, with Houston being an animal, Eric Berry, taking care of secondary. They're really playing good football, obviously, 10-game win streak. But I do think they beat Houston, and, Houston's quarterback problems. I mean, I don't trust Hoyer to win this playoff game against Andy Reid and the Chiefs. I don't see it happening. I gotta take the Chiefs. All right, let's move on to the NFC. Let's go with Seattle at Minnesota.
It's hard to go against the Seahawks after seeing them last week just dismantle the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals rested a lot of their players in the second half, but Seattle dogged them in the first half, and it didn't even score. The Cardinals didn't even score in the second half, and maybe not even second quarter, if I recall correctly. I don't remember, but that was abusive.
Scored and missed that PAT, and then it was.
Yep. I'll go with the Seahawks, even though it's in Minnesota. Minnesota, nice win, Nice win in Green Bay, but I think Seahawks are on another level, and we'll get to the Packers in the next wildcard game.
I'm taking Minnesota. I'm taking the Vikings.
All right.
It's hard to beat a team twice. I know this is kind of foolish, and it's easy to pick Seattle, and they are playing really well. I just do think it's really hard to beat a team twice. And the first time Seattle played Minnesota didn't have Anthony Barr. They didn't have Harrison Smith. And now that they're healthy, I think now that they're healthy and coming off beating Green Bay at Green Bay, winning the NFC North, I think there's a different level of motivation right now for that team. I think they found an identity, and it looked like they were lost against Seattle the first time they played them. I mean, Seattle just absolutely thrashed them. But now, I think it's a little different. I think their mindset is different than where it was then. They're healthy now, and I think that they find a way to win this game. I just think that defense is a completely different animal with those two guys on the field, and they can slow down Seattle, and I think AP is going to elevate his game and really make it so that Minnesota's in this game, and I think they win. I'm going to take Minnesota.
I'm not worried about AP. I'm worried about Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah. Well, Teddy, here's all you got to do. Here you go.
Well, Seattle knows that they're going to do that.
Keep running,
stack the box, and then Teddy's got to beat him, and I don't think he's going to do it. He doesn't have any experience in the playoffs, and going against Seattle, who's played really well in the playoffs. They never had a bad game in the playoffs. So
he's got Diggs.
All right.
Hey Sherman, Diggs is going to be eaten.
Give it to Stephon.
Give it to Stephon. No, I think they'll get it done. I do. I think everyone's boosted right now, and I just think they find the motivation to really battle with Seattle. And Seattle's coming out, they're hot, and they love the playoffs. They love the intensity, and they love when the lights shine brightest. And they like to perform. But I think Minnesota's there with them. I don't think Minnesota's scared. I know they got kind of throttled, but I think they're there. And at home, I think the atmosphere, it's going to be cold. It's going to be uncomfortable. I think forecast is 1 degree, high of 1 degree. Yeah. Have fun with that.
Bring your coats.
Bring your coats. All right, let's get to the game. The game we want to talk about. Our Washington Redskins host Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
Skins. Let's go Skins. I think this is, I guess, the biggest mismatch in the playoffs, in my opinion. The Packers are not playing well at all. The Redskins their offense is on fire. We've been playing great lately, and the Packers, I don't even think they're a playoff team. They made the playoffs, yes, but I'm not very high on them, and especially after last week in Minnesota, or against Minnesota, I think I'll take the Skins. I'll take the Skins comfortably.
Wow, this is weird. I don't recognize the language where the Skins are like the favorites.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I like your call. I like the Skins too. I think they're trending like this, and Green Bay is trending like this. I think the Skins are playing good football at the right time. On a 4-game win streak. Uh, Obviously better at home than on the road. Took them a while to get a road win this year, but they're playing good football. Defense has great intensity right now. Our pass rush has been awesome in Green Bay's offensive line. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it the past couple weeks. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be under a lot of duress. And without Jordy Nelson, it looks like they have no playmakers who are stepping up for them at the receiver position. And so I think if you factor that in, the way Cousins is playing and Jordan Reed, I think just it's an overall package that's going to be too much for Green Bay.
I like that.
I think the Skins win. So let's jump a little bit further ahead.
Okay.
I don't want to get into massive picks for NFC and Super Bowl because, there's still a lot to happen in the wild card before you can really start making these picks. But what do you see? Who do you see as your NFC winner and your AFC winner? Let's say that right now. Obviously, it's one of 6 teams.
The NFC, man, that's tough. I can't go against the Panthers.
Okay.
They look great. They look great.
They look great.
I don't. What are they? 15-1.
Yes.
15-1. Again, and Cam's playing out of his mind. I'll go with the Panthers. They got home field advantage. Carolina's a hard place to play. Their defense has been good for years.
Mm-hmm.
Cam's playing MVP type. So I'll go with the Panthers in the NFC and the AFC. I'll go with the Broncos.
Oh,
give me Peyton.
Are back.
Give me Peyton.
Peyton Mannings are back.
Their defense is playing really well. They got number 1 seed, home field advantage throughout.
Yeah.
Patriots look lost. I'll go with the Broncos.
The Patriots have lost. Come on, you think they're gonna be
No,
lost?
not lost.
That's ridiculous.
Not lost. I know Tom. I don't like choosing against Tom because I'm a Tom supporter. The guy's nuts. Best of all time in my opinion. But I'll go with the Broncos.
All right, let's see. I like that. I like the Broncos pick, but I'm gonna take the Patriots. It's too hard to bet against Tom Brady and the Patriots. Like they always find a way to do it. Like they just do. I don't know why. There's something about them. Winning is a habit in that organization, and they just win. I mean they are. Cincy is riddled with problems. Houston's terrible. I mean the Chiefs are starting to look good, but would you take Alex Smith over Tom Brady? Like I would take Tom Brady and the Patriots over the Chiefs. Virtually without D. Williams. Steelers were looking like a contender. Without D. Williams, I had them obviously losing to Cincy. But Denver poses the only threat. Denver poses the only threat. And
I typically have that mindset as well. But last week, when they could have locked up the number 1 seed, they went to Miami and lost.
That's true. I don't know what they were doing with run the ball. That was the dumb act. Yeah. Belichick has really confused me.
Yeah.
The last
Kicking the ball in overtime.
Yeah, kicking away the ball in overtime. Like, what are you on crazy pills?
That's going nuts.
But still, they'll settle down. They'll be okay, and they know how to beat Peyton Manning.
They do.
Like if Peyton's playing, even if they have to go to Denver, they know the tools to face him and how to beat him. And Peyton Manning doesn't know how to beat Tom Brady. So really, if it comes down to that, we're getting, this is for the next show. But I think the Patriots the road is still through them, even though they don't have home field throughout. It still goes through them. And the NFC, my pick is whoever wins between Carolina's first game. Whoever Carolina plays.
But can you do that? You're picking 2 teams.
I'm picking one team. One team.
The winner of that game.
The winner of that game. I have Minnesota beating Seattle, but in case I'm wrong, I think the winner will be whoever plays in that game of the NFC. The Cards. I don't know. That was weird. Like getting stomped on. I know Seattle's a good team, but how do you refocus after kind of really, really getting punched in the face? How do you refocus? I think that was really shell shocking for them, and I'm worried about them in the playoffs now. Obviously, Carolina looking awesome. Minnesota coming with some momentum as well, and Seattle. Minnesota, Seattle, Carolina, and the Skins all playing some really good football. Arizona with a little bit of a hiccup. They've still been playing really well, but I just wonder how they're going to react. But I think Carolina. They're just too good. They're simply too good. Jonathan Stewart will be back. He'll be healthy. They'll be able to move the ball effectively through the ground and through the air. And obviously their defense, Kuechly, Norman, just lights out. Thomas Davis, keep doing work. Like, awesome. Absolutely awesome. So, okay.
Shout out to Gano.
Shout out to Gano. Way to go, Graham. Wish you were still a Skin, but we love Hawkins. So, okay. No, everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the BCAM Sports Jam. We'd love for you guys to follow us on social media. Check us out on Facebook, BCAM Sports Jam. We're also on Twitter at BCAM Sports Jam, and follow us on YouTube. Feel free to subscribe, comment to our videos, BCAM Sports Jam. Well, I'm Brad Cameron.
Stephen Burkheimer.
Thanks for watching. We'll see ya. Thanks for jamming with us, people.